Hello and welcome to episode 25 of the Inches and Cubes podcast, a Warhammer 40k podcast. Today, we are talking about brushing up.
Ooh, he did that off the dome.
I am Adam the Truest Axe, and we also have...
We've got Paul Mr. Fist Fowler this evening, and we're down one Nick, whatever we call him, Coslow. So Nick is weak and is at home in bed, allegedly, probably watching Stranger Things. He has succumbed to a Nurgle malady, so we wish him a speedy recovery. So you
don't recover from Nurgle's blessings.
No, you become more powerful. So yeah, we're it's just the two of us this evening. We're sitting in Adam's painting studio. It's lovely. I am surrounded by so many miniatures that I just want to pick up and like mess with.
What's calling to you more, the miniatures or the guitars on the wall?
Like a little bit of both. like the guitars, I just kind of, if your baby weren't asleep, I definitely would have had that acoustic down, just being like,
yeah.
So anyways, this is Wonderwall.
Let's do our regular lineup of activities.
Yeah.
What do we call them?
We call them painting desks.
Painting desks.
Painting desks.
And we're at a painting desk.
That's right. We're sitting right in front of one.
All right.
Adam, you've got the most to talk about, clearly.
Yes. Well, let's settle the score for all the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
The aggressor battle of the week.
We're at a tie of 3 incomplete aggressors. Mine are about the same level of incomplete as Adam's. I think he might have a little bit of an edge on me. But my excuse is that my birthday was Saturday, so that obliterated all of Saturday. And
Happy birthday!
Thank you very much.
Yeah. My excuse is I got sick and I lost 2 days of painting.
Yeah.
But my wife has now seen season 1 of Stranger Things.
So that's good.
Winning.
Yeah. That's a silver lining.
Yeah.
So yeah, well, seeing how I'm already talking, I'll just say the aggressors are up to, they're almost finished. Like, I'll be able to finish them if I stay up tonight, or if I decide not to work on a particular work project tomorrow. That's the benefit of working from home and having, like, a deadline that's December.
Too easy.
Yeah. So, you know, that's cool. I also, for my birthday, from the very kind one of our Nicks, was given a Storm Eagle. Not Storm Eagle, the Storm Talon. Storm Talon? The small one.
The little plane?
Yeah, the one that I like.
Sweet.
So that was very, very kind of him, I have to say. Nick
Is that
from
Space Wolf Nick?
No, Nick from Sword and Board.
Wilkins.
Yeah.
Ah, you rock.
Yeah, so kind, so nice. So I took that out and like it's mostly built. I'm trying to figure out if I can use the Interceptor cockpit instead of the glass cockpit, because it's the one that builds both kits. And I just want to kind of blend the 2 kits because it would be unique looking.
The Interceptor is the closed cockpit, right?
Right. And I just don't see a reason that a Space Marine would need to see out of a cockpit. Like, you know?
Yeah.
It's the 41st millennium.
There you go.
So yeah, I've been messing around with that. I realized that I never built one. I've like painted 2, but I've always bought them like assembled from the internet.
Oh, that's half the joy gone.
I know, but they're actually, I find all the planes, all the Space Marine flyers are super fun to weather up. So I'm gonna have a field day with this thing.
Weathering has been my week this week.
Yeah, clearly. Well, why don't you tell me how come that's been your week?
Yeah. So Peaches, the friendly neighborhood gargantuan squig-off.
Yeah.
He's got a lot more paint on him right now. And I'm getting pretty excited about that. So I decided to...
Let's celebrate.
Ching, ching. So this is a really cool beer that I picked up at Henderson's called the Ghost of Prohibition. So the story is that some dude was wandering around and spent the last of his dollars at a friendly neighborhood watering hole in the Junction, and then went and slept under the bridge just off Keele Street, just north of Dundas.
Yeah.
And someone allegedly murdered him.
That's not very kind.
And then when Prohibition happened, he apparently like haunted the Junction, all the bars in the Junction, like looking for drinks.
Weird. So, like, I only found out recently that the Junction for a long time was dry. Like, you couldn't buy alcohol there.
I didn't know until I read the story.
Yeah, so, like, that was a thing, right? Like, you could get beer, you could get alcohol in other parts of the city, but, like, parts of the Junction you couldn't, and that's why there's not a ton of bars there.
Yeah, weird.
Yeah.
And that's why they just reopened an LCBO.
Yeah.
So what is it actually? It is actually a dark lager. Do they actually say anything? Okay, roasty chocolate biscuit aromas and a perfect balance of malt sweetness with hops. So we'll see how it goes.
It's pretty nice, man.
There you go.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, man, easy.
We do all sorts of fun stuff when Nick's not here.
Yeah, you're missing out on the what was it called? Chocolate biscuits flavors.
But
so Squiggy.
yeah, you've got it's just for anyone who hasn't seen it, it's probably the size it's like bigger than a football, but you could fit it in a breadbasket.
Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
Yeah, right?
But it weighs as much as like 2 bricks.
Yeah, it's fun to hold.
Yeah, you kill a man with this thing.
Don't.
No, I mean, I'm not going to. I'm saying you could.
I mean, Simon might.
He'd get real mad.
Yeah, that's his business, though.
So he was the skin was painted, I think, last week. Or the skin had been started being painted, maybe. Anyways, and so now the skin is finished, and I'm really happy with it. It's like nice kind of pastel-y, minty green color. The horns are all done. Painted his fingernails.
Yeah,
his fingernails.
Yeah.
And started working on his tongue, which, I mean, on a model this big, you kind of have to parse it out like that.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like the tusks that you've done look really nice.
Thanks.
Like it's the blending on the tones go really well. Like a lot of horns and stuff sort of go towards a yellow tone, and you've kept everything in a kind of grayish tone. I like it.
Cool. Yeah, I guess I covered up most of that yellowy brown.
Yeah.
Also, the light's really bad in here. But my favorite part is, and since we're talking about painting today, I tried a new technique, which was weathering using hairspray and getting the paint chip effect with rust underneath, and then you kind of the like, let's say your car is rusting at the bottom and your paint's chipping off and the rust is coming out underneath, and trying for that effect, and it was really fun to learn.
Yeah, so. It gives a really, like, and go into it later in the podcast when we talk about new techniques, but it gives like a really good blistered look to it. Like the rust is sort of forcing the paint off in spots. It looks nice.
Nice.
Say. Looks smart.
Thanks. So that's my progress. And I guess just oil wash those aggressors. That's the only progress I made on them.
I've got like the blacks and the metallics done, so now it's just like hit them with a wash before bed.
Yeah.
And then
Do they have any yellow on them?
they're all yellow.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so you
yeah.
just black details.
Yeah, black details, metallic details, and then I'll just like wash everything, because I've realized that it doesn't make sense to use a different wash on the metallics, because I do it all with the sepia, then I'll bring it back up and then do egg racks. So I was like, I'm gonna wash the whole thing.
There you go.
Yeah, so.
That's learning how to speed paint.
Yeah, that's the thing. I used to be so delicate with my washes sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a new day. You hang out with me too much.
That's true.
Becoming a savage. Cool. So, next up, the most eventful part of the podcast.
Yeah, games played. Adam, how many games you play?
I mean, I don't play games, yo.
Yeah. This could be us, but you play them. Yeah, I didn't get any games in either. Again, my birthday weekend, while it would have been great to play a couple of games on my birthday, I went out for breakfast with a friend, and then I did laundry, and then took a nap on a pile of worn laundry.
You're looking for a different kind of fun, were you?
No, it was great, actually. I basically lived the life of a house cat for an afternoon. And I went out to 1602. My birthday just went it was just weird.
Oh, yeah, because I wanted to go to your birthday, but I
Oh,
got sick on your birthday.
Like, people got kicked out of the bar, a coat caught on fire. Like, yeah, it was just... A friend of mine took a swing at a bartender.
Yee.
So, anyways, she's doing okay.
Well, good.
It was just...
How's the bartender?
I don't know. I paid my bill and then just left. And I'm never going back.
See you next year.
Yeah. I
when you forget about me.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Now they know my name.
Yeah. Well, they won't remember it for a year.
Yeah, I hope not.
Yeah. So, I'm excited, though, to have some games played next week because on Saturday, that's this Saturday, right?
Yeah, it's
the Hogtown Open Day, the first one.
Yeah, so if you're listening to this and you're a Hogtown person, just roll on in, play a pickup game, play someone that you haven't played before.
Yeah,
that's the goal for the day.
Yeah, the philosophy is kind of we want people to just be able to randomly show up at the store and get a pickup game, as opposed to having to always schedule on Facebook. So, show up.
Yeah, come on in. And, like, you know, maybe, hopefully it'll be too busy and some people won't get to play.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That won't happen.
No.
We have lots of tables.
Yeah, we've got 10 tables.
Yeah.
We should be fine.
Just pack it up.
Yep. So, also, if you're registered for our tournament, it's a great time to test out that list. Or, like, mess with the comp.
Yeah. I might try out my list on Saturday. Oh, but my stuff's not painted. I don't roll like that.
Yeah, I know. You're not like a certain cowardly Connor that we know. Kind of the worst. You're not. I don't mean that.
And then also, to precede the open day, we have a painting day, right?
Yeah, we've got a painting day, actually. But if you're listening to this on the release day, it is tonight. It is Friday. It's over at Seascape. We're going to set up a couple of lights. Lighting's not great, so maybe it's a better time to assemble stuff or, like, do your basics. But
get a layer on your, like, paint your sand or whatever.
Yeah, just come out and do something. And, like, have a little bit of fun. Also, we'll be playing Mario Kart. Nick says that Seascape actually got Mario Party 3 for him.
Hello.
He asked them if they had Mario Party 2. And they were like, we can get it by the end of the week. And Nick was like, I didn't request it. I just asked. And then they, like, emailed him and they were like, yeah, we got Mario Party 3. Is that good?
Yes.
I mean, I just hate the Mario Party games. I hate them. They say that I enjoy them. I don't believe it.
They just take so long. Like,
that's the thing. They take a long time, and then by the time it's over and we're having a beer afterwards, Connor and Nick are saying, like, Paul, you had such a good time playing that game. And I feel like that's how you talk to a toddler. Where it's like, you had such a fun time eating your broccoli. And you're like, maybe I did. Because I'm 2. And I can't really trust most of my instincts. So I think that's what they're doing to me. I think they're gaslighting me in a very positive Mario Party way.
That's beautiful. And my wife always, Emily, likes to tell this story about her sister, always telling her she's really amazing at doing the dishes. And there was a 10-year gap, right? So it was almost like it was her mom saying that.
Yeah.
So she totally believed her.
My sister would say that she could do the dishes faster than me, and I would try and race her.
Oh, no, you can't.
We'll do this right now. And, like, the downside of that is you've got, like, a 10-year-old being really bad at dishes. So they're, like, just dirty.
Yeah.
They're still gross.
That's the worst. You pull, like, a piece of cutlery out of the cutlery drawer, and it's just caked on something.
Just, like, baked on peanut butter. I just throw it right in the garbage. I have no knives in my house.
That's, like, really lazy.
Super lazy.
I like your style. Like
Welcome.
the cut of your jib.
Welcome to late capitalism, everybody. I can just buy more knives.
Does that conclude our...
I think this might be the quickest one yet, because there's no games and we're down a man.
Yeah.
So.
That's like a third of the time just sliced off.
Oof.
You're welcome.
Yeah. You know what, guys? You got stuff to do. We're letting you get back to it quickly.
Yeah.
You'll thank us in the morning. Now, a word from our sponsors.
Battle Brothers Studios, a commission painting service passionate about making your miniatures and your gaming table look great. Our philosophy at Battle Brothers is this: your army is our army. Every model will be something you can be proud to show off. Send us a message on facebook.com/BattleBrothersStudios for a free quote and make that dream project come to life. We also have something special planned for the release of 8th edition of 40K. Right now, get 20% off if you commission us to paint an 8th edition starter set, or get a 10% off Army Bundle bonus for painting up your new 8th edition 40K Army. Inquire with us on Facebook for full details.
Hogtown, Hogtown, Hogtown!
Saturdays at Sword and Board!
Rock and Bloor!
It's behind the pizza.
Oh, yeah!
Yeah!
Idiots.
Hello, and welcome to the second portion of the podcast.
Yep.
We are brushing up tonight on the basics of painting. Well, not basics.
No, we're talking about how you move your painting skill.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you learn?
Yeah. What motivates you? How you, how do you motivate yourself to try new things and go new places, explore new worlds, boldly go?
Where many people have gone before, because you're probably checking a YouTube video to see how to do this. Also, a quick aside, it's really funny to see, like, as soon as Nick's not here, we're like, do you guys want to talk about painting? Like, the painting nerds are like, yeah, we're going to do another painting episode. Hopefully they're just tuning in for the dulcet tones of our voice.
That's right. And the, sweet little, what do you call them, vignettes on craft beers?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Nick was saying that he might have somebody that wants to, like, give us beer for free.
I'm cool with that.
I love that idea. If you're out there and you're listening and you're a beer person, give us some.
Yeah,
And
we will talk about it.
Yeah, we'll tell people about your product.
Yeah.
We reach literally a dozen people.
That we know of.
Yeah, but talk to us.
Yeah,
I mean,
that tell us.
we also, like, we turned up on the, like, Bella Lost Souls blog roll.
There you
before.
go. See?
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Bowls.
Balls.
All right.
All right.
So here we go. So this is how we're going to jump in. Just to kind of frame the picture here, let's talk about our own kind of painting style philosophy. Because we both paint different.
Very much so.
Yeah, and that's not a bad thing. It's actually going to enhance our conversation tonight.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, go ahead. Just talk about your style a little bit and then why you kind of paint that way.
Yeah, so anyone that has seen my stuff or follows me on Instagram knows that I like dirty looking things. I like, oh God, I know that Connor's like giggling at dirty looking things. Like he's at his government job and just being like, so that one's for you, buddy. But yeah, like I like things that look more real, not more realistic, but a lot of the techniques I learned from sort of historical miniature painting. Not that I did a lot of it, it's just that I'm really drawn to like the way that looks. So the highlights are a lot more subtle than your average studio Warhammer painted thing, and your chipping and your weathering is sometimes a little heavier than you would see on those, again, studio models.
I mean, your chipping.
My chipping, yeah. And like I like chipping. Also, I constantly tell people that chipping can hide all sorts of sins.
Oh yeah.
As I look at your big squig up.
He's sponged like crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also need it on big orc armor plates.
Mm-hmm.
Cause have you ever seen like a pristinely painted orc model? It's so weird.
Yeah. Like why? Why are you? You're not orky enough.
It messes with my head.
Like an orc in a tuxedo.
Yeah. Orccedo. Tuxedork. Tuxedork.
Next.
Moving on. Yeah, so I like to weather stuff. That's something that I picked up from my buddy Marty in Newfoundland when I just started painting. He paints under I think his war seer name was Vallo, or you can find him on Instagram at the Acrylic Idiot 709. Yeah, he's a really good painter and like taught me a lot of the stuff that I know about how to weather. And yeah, I guess weathering is the one technique that like I keep trying to push and expand. So next on the block will probably be learning how to use pin washes and use oil paints to weather things. But I don't know what project that will be.
That's all right.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about more about how do we push ourselves to the next level.
Yeah. So Adam, what's your sort of style and philosophy?
Yeah. So I working at Games Workshop had really molded the way that I paint from early on. I started working there at 17 years old.
You're such a baby.
I know. I was so young and impressionable, and they totally just mind controlled me, and that's how I paint now. So I definitely go for that more GW studio look, right? Stark highlights, but I also have this tendency to want to paint things fast, and so I have this kind of rough and gritty, I don't know, way or method of painting.
Your brush handling is alarming.
Yeah.
Like, to come out on Friday, anybody that is planning to come out, and just maybe you'll get a glimpse of Adam just like stabbing at a miniature with a brush. It's crazy looking. And like, I can't criticize him because like I'm in a room full of results, but it's just nuts to watch.
Yeah, but it's and part of that is because working at the store, you could not play with unpainted miniatures. It was literally a rule at Games Workshop at the time: no unpainted models allowed. And if you're a staff there, you certainly couldn't keep your models in the display case. The eyes had to be painted.
Yeah.
If the models had eyes, that was just the rules. And so I grew up in this environment where it was like, you have to have high quality painting.
Mm-hmm.
Thankfully, like my boss at the time, Ash Barker of Grill and Miniature Games, like taught me basically most of what I know about painting, and then whipped it into us to learn how to paint fast. It was amazing. So that's kind of like my style: get it done, but make it look nice, right? I think at the end of the day that I have, nice painting.
Yeah.
So
I would say so. Like, I think one of our other listeners, Simon, he would agree.
Yeah.
As the few times that he's been on, he's counted giving stuff to you to paint as hobby progress. I mean, painting desk rearrangement. I don't know how we would categorize that, but anyways, yeah, that's how he does it.
That's it. He actually, and shout out to you, he painted some of his own stuff.
I know. He told me.
It's so cute.
So he was so proud.
I was proud of him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But not too proud. Can't take food out of your baby's mouth.
Hey, you know what? There's a big pile over there of models we painted. So if he wants to paint some guns for himself, that's fine. Yeah, that's my philosophy. So as we talk, just kind of keep that in the back of your mind that like that's the two of us. That's how we think differently about painting. That's how we execute differently. So let's go on to the meat.
Yeah.
One of the things that just happened for me this week was I added a new tool on my tool belt. And it was really fun to kind of walk through that process, learn a new technique, really work it, and I just felt like a whole new world opened up for me. It was great. How do we advance our painting skills? What motivates us? And then, like, what do we do to be intentional about growing as painters? I think this will be fun to talk about.
Yeah, because there's a difference between learning vertically and learning horizontally. So, like...
What does that even mean?
Well, like, learning to paint an Eldar model is sort of learning how to paint, as opposed to a Space Marine, is sort of learning, like, laterally. So you're not advancing your techniques, you're applying them differently.
In new scenarios, new ways, right?
Right.
Okay,
Which is very important and makes you a better painter, but... Then there's learning new techniques. So, like, learning the hairspray weathering, which I hope you'll take us through.
Mm-hmm.
Or learning salt chipping, which I'll give a brief overview on. These are, like, weathering techniques, or just any sort of techniques. Wet blending. Learning how to use washes when you don't know how to use them. Like, that's a big one. That's, like...
It's huge. I've seen guys do the weirdest things with washes.
Mm-hmm.
Which it seems, at this stage, it seems like such a basic technique. But I've seen guys just like spread the wash out everywhere so thinly that it didn't actually go into any cracks. But that's the whole point of the wash.
Yeah, but at the same time, I've seen people use washes as sort of stains, just to shift the entire palette, like towards one,
like a tint.
Yeah. Which was like really interesting, and like it blew my mind to see someone do that, because I was like,
intentionally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because like this guy Marty, he painted an entire Red Scorpions army. And the gray he used was a custom mix, which I know that your eyes are already glazing over it, like a custom mixed color. But it like looked weird until he washed it, and then it would look Forge World perfect.
I love it. I love how people's brains work. They just come up with that. Right?
Yeah, and like it would never occur to me to do it like that.
So all right, so so that's the topic. So what motivates us to want to learn how to paint? Like, it could be either way, horizontally or vertically. When I initially wrote this list down, I was thinking just about vertically. How do we expand our tool belt? How do we, like, get better at certain techniques? So all about those kind of things. But we could talk horizontally, too. Something for me is just being around guys who like to paint.
It's a big one.
Yeah, just be around guys. And so that's why I love hanging out with you and seeing your stuff. Because you just paint different from me, but you love to paint, and you paint really well, so...
Ah, shucks.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're the reason that I'm painting eyes now. I think I've told this story on the podcast before, but we did a painting day, and, you know, this is towards the idea of painting with people. We did a painting day at Sword and Board, and I had, like, a bunch of heads on corks, and Adam was like, "Oh, give me that," and he like painted. It was a guy that had like one cybernetic eye and one bare eye. And he was like, "Oh, let me take a look." That's my Adam impression. And like he just real quick did an eye. I was like, "Dude, now I have to do all the other eyes." And like you had this look on your face, like, "I know."
I knew exactly what I was doing.
I was just so mad. But luckily I had other heads there that I was like, "All right, I'm gonna learn how to paint eyes." And Adam took me through it. And now every bareheaded guy that I paint has eyes.
Yeah. So that's funny. And so I guess this is actually good because I learned how to paint eyes differently than you did. Mm-hmm. So you learned how to paint eyes because you were hanging out with other painters. So that's one strategy. I did it because I was intent on learning how to paint eyes. And so I sat down with a whole bunch of Lord of the Rings goblins that I had taken from start to the finish except the eyes. And so it was literally something like 60 goblins.
Whoa.
Maybe even 100 goblins because we were doing this big Lord of the Rings event for the store, and I was like, for this next 2 hours, all I'm doing is painting eyeballs.
I would go crazy, but also that's how I speed paint. Is
right.
Like I pick like specific details. Like I'm doing all the eyes, I'm doing all the knee pads, I'm doing all the legs.
Yeah, but so I guess that's strategy number 2 is just pick something you want to learn and paint. Do that until you learn it.
Yeah.
What else? What else kind of motivates us to?
Honestly, I've mentioned this, but the Instagram like is a huge motivation for me. Like that's where I get a lot of my ideas of like things that I want to try out. I like Instagram. I have a hobby Instagram as opposed to my like regular normal human one, and I'm always like looking up different hashtags or like following my favorite painters. And they're like pushing what I want to try, because there's like some stuff where I'm like, that's good enough, and then like I'll pop on to Instagram and I'll be like, it's not good enough. Like there's this guy Grizzly Vegeta, he's from the UK, and he has like a slice of the Emperor's army, and it looked
like black and yellow.
Yeah. So like
black and yellow. Oh, God. Don't do it.
do it. But yeah, so like he has a really good weathering style on his yellow.
Sure.
So I was like, nuts, I gotta get a good one. And I didn't steal his style, but I realized that like yellow is the color that you weather.
You needed it.
Yeah.
So that reminds me of like poring over White Dwarf magazine, and especially being really excited when an issue had the latest Golden Demon entries.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like the same idea, right? This is 13 years ago, 15 years ago, so there wasn't Instagram back then.
True.
Believe it or not, kids.
Yeah, youngsters. Yeah, but oh man, I remember when they would do the like not the studio painters, but the studio employees armies. That was, and they would do a highlight on those. Those would be my favorite because you would have guys with like a lot of conversions, but like also loving hobby stuff. So there's one guy who had the same character in every game system that GW had. So it was this dude named Steppenwolf was the character name, and he had like a Space Marine equivalent, he had a Chaos Marine equivalent, he had a like a Chaos Warrior equivalent.
Oh, so it's like this guy if he were in this
like these settings.
Right.
And it was just a really cool idea.
Nice.
Which I might somehow steal.
Go for it. With Valdis? Or
Amon Vol.
Amon Vol, that's it.
Yeah. So I think what I'm gonna do is the next Dreadnought I do is gonna be him.
He dies?
Yeah, well, I mean...
The dude never died. How are you gonna put him in Dreadnought?
Well, I mean, like, in the 40k. So when I'm playing 40k, he's in a Dreadnought. When I'm playing 30k, he's running around with a sword lopping traitor heads off.
So, what's his death story?
We'll find out.
Ooh.
If Nick can ever
Kill
get
him?
the bottle and kill him.
Yeah, beautiful. All right. Are there any other methods just for, like, pushing your painting skills that you go through?
Like a specific method? I find characters.
Okay.
Characters are where I will learn a new technique. With the Imperial Fist Army, that was learning like to do power weapons differently.
Nice.
So just like to do them either green or blue with like lightning effects and like blending them like that. Just because I usually just paint my swords, my power weapons metallic because I never find that I can do a glow effect in a way that makes me feel happy. So I just figured I was going to try and learn how to do the GW Studio Blood Angels power weapon effect with the crackling blue.
Oh, coming out of the little bead that goes up the hilt to the sword, yeah.
So, I think that was like a technique that I only applied to characters. And not every character. But when I want to make them stand out, that's like the one that I would go to.
Yeah. And so it's like, I want to learn this, I want to get better at this. If I'm going to spend the time, let's get a nice character model and let's just do it, right? Mm-hmm. That's kind of the idea. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I've definitely taken the same mentality towards doing a painting competition, right? Where it's like, I'm entering and I may or may not win, doesn't matter, but I'm going to enter as if I'm going to win, right?
Yeah.
And like, I'm going to put effort into this model. I've only done that a few times and I've decided I will never do it again.
Honestly, I would love to do a painting competition at the store.
Pretty fun.
Yeah, but again, it's not my store, so I don't know. Maybe we'd have to
do a club painting competition.
Yeah, club painting competition.
The problem is, like, Jonathan Tongue would just win.
Yeah, but I'm not mad about it.
No, like, he's so good.
Well, he's another painter that like I see what he's doing, and like there's this like little heresy sub chat that I'm a part of, and he'll like post something and he'll be like, "Is this good?" And I'll be like, "What do you mean, is this good? Of course, it's beautiful. I'm crying. Actually, I'm on a city bus weeping because of the beauty that you just put on a Space Marine cloak."
Yeah. So with those kind of guys, especially, I don't know, other people probably have this too, right? Where they're, it's tough to really beat the best guy, right? Because you just know he's the best guy. So what you can do is take them out of their element. So like Jonathan Tongue paints beautifully, but he can't paint fast, right?
Okay.
So he'd be like, okay, everybody, buy your new model, paint it in a week.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And that takes them out. So the best you can do in 1 week.
Yeah, I like that. I think we could. That has to be on the honor system, but
yeah, you get everybody to buy the model that day.
Yeah.
Right? Or submit a picture of it unpainted.
Yeah.
Something. Or show up to the day with it unpainted when everybody signs up or something.
Yeah.
You can track it.
Yeah, I mean, also, anyone that's going to be trying to, like, cheat to win a painting competition, they have to go to sleep with themselves every night, and that's punishment enough.
Yeah, if they ask for you.
I would really like to do that. I think Nick G, Space Wolf Nick, was saying that he wanted to do this sort of idea where everyone tries to paint in someone else's style.
Okay.
So, like, I would try and paint, like, a Imperial Fist the way that you would paint one, or
Sure.
like you would try to paint like one of your Luna Wolves the way that I would end up painting it. And I was like, that what a weird, like, cool idea.
Yeah.
And like, you know, just taking different styles, like you've got the Blanche Fu type stuff. He was like, see if we can all do that. And,
I like it.
Yeah,
I
or
like
like try to paint like Paul Carvanis, who's like one of the best painters I know, but like occasionally he'll make a decision on his model, and I'm like, I don't know why you chose that, but it looks good. And again, you can't argue with results, but my brain would never work that way.
Yeah.
So like, I like the idea of trying to emulate someone's style. I think I would want to do that on like a small scale.
There you go. So maybe that's another thing we can add to our list, right? Of method. Just try something you would normally never try. Just grab a random model that's kicking around, and just paint it with, I don't know, 4 pots of paint.
Yeah.
Only, right? Or paint it, yeah. Be like, I'm gonna paint like Paul today.
Well, like, I think one of the things that I want to try to do is get stuff with a lot of cloth next, because that's something that I realize, like, I don't paint a lot of, and I want to get better at it. So like, that's something that I'm gonna do. So whether that's like finding some miniatures that would fit into my armies that have those textures, or God forbid starting another game system. So
Which may happen in our near future.
yeah, well, if that can happen, then I'm gonna get the most roby people I can. But you know, that's maybe a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
Oh.
You know what you could do? Grab like a Ministorum priest or something.
Yeah.
Or like a Psyker, a Primaris Psyker or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Primaris Psyker would be perfect.
Just like, yeah, just one of those like little Imperial Guard like Primaris Psyker dudes.
Yeah, Connor, you get a bunch of those.
Give me one. It's my birthday on Saturday.
Yeah, let me paint one. You can have it back.
Oh, there you go. All right, sweet. Have we hammered that one enough? What do you think?
Yeah, I think so. Also, before we move on from that, brush care, Adam.
Yeah, let's have this fight again.
You gotta buy some brush conditioner, because I am looking at a like plastic Dixie cup filled with brushes that are just. It's like the island of misfit toys in here when you look at your brushes.
I did. I went out and I splurged and I got a new paintbrush. This is how I work, guys. I have one good brush, and I use it for everything until it dies. And I even, to extend their life a little bit, because I started hanging out with Paul, was like, oh yeah, brush care. Oh yeah. So I just would like put a little airbrush cleaner in my palm and roll the tip of the brush around in it.
I mean, it works. So, like, you just gotta make sure that no paint is drying in the ferrule.
You're feral.
I am. I was domesticated, and I have gone back to a state of nature. But yeah, no, that's like, it's a tool. Kind of treat it with a little bit of respect, I'd say. And a good point there when you're talking about those is a smaller brush doesn't mean that you're going to get better detail. Like learning actual brush control.
Yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, like
I don't use a small brush.
Yeah, no, I have like, I think I have 3 brushes that I use on like a standard like 32 millimeter base. And it's like a big one, a medium one, and a little bit smaller than a medium one.
Yeah. All right, here, I got it right here. Okay, this is my go-to brush size. It is the medium layer brush from GW.
Yeah, like that's the size that I use for everything.
You paint eyes with that.
Yeah.
I painted eyes with a tank brush before.
That's just showing off. That's a hot dogging move is what that is.
It totally was.
Yeah.
He's like, guys, eyes are not hard. Look, I'll paint eyes with a tank brush. That's like you like put your foot in your mouth for a second and you're wait, oh wait, this actually has a really nice tip on it when they're brand new.
Yeah. Well, every brush is good brand new. But I find like having a bigger brush with a good tip, like when I use small tips, the paint dries so quickly, so I'm like gumming it up.
Yeah, it doesn't hold nothing.
Yeah, so like get something that has a little bit of a reservoir in it, and you can paint like fine details way easier.
Yeah. So brush care. So educate us, because to be fair, everybody, Paul's won me over on this, and so I have actually bought some. Well, I didn't buy it. I got it from a friend. Some brush cleaner.
Well, it's just like a conditioner and soap in one. You just wet your brush, you roll it around in it, you kind of work it into the bristles
With your fingers?
with your fingers if
Yeah,
you want,
really?
or you and then just rinse it off, rinse it really well, and then just put it back to dry.
Alright.
And it'll keep your tips, and it'll keep everything kind of working as it should a little bit longer, because you are paying money for this stuff, and a thing of brush cleaner will last you
Your whole life?
Yeah, like I bought two at the same time. I don't know what the inside of the second one looks like, and this was like years ago.
It's like when the shoe stores like sell you that like polish for your shoe. Like, you will need this sealer.
Yeah.
This sealer for your new boots. You're like, and then it just sits there forever and ever, and you never use it again.
I saw a picture on Reddit where it was like, I think gravy browning, where it was like the first bottle that this guy's parents that was in the house when he was alive was like 20 years of quality, and when they bought a new one they were like 25 years of quality, and that was the only thing that changed on the label. He was like, really? Less than 5 years?
There you go. All right, hey, let's take a little break, fill our glasses, and come right back.
Yeah. We can make this cut nice. Adam's back. He's had a rough week, so now he's just opening beers left, right, and center.
Yeah, so I love this can because this is also from Henderson's, by the way. This is called an Oud Bruin. Oud Bruin.
Old broom.
And it's the can is just like a metal can.
Yeah, it's just a bare tin can. Well, aluminum can.
Like, no ingredients, no information other than the alcohol and the size and the name.
Yeah, I gotta get a picture of that.
Yeah, and it's a dark sour.
Wacky.
Yeah, you don't see many dark sours out there.
No.
So I'll let you
Alright.
make some decisions on how much you like that.
Alright. So yeah. To like learning new techniques, just occasionally paint something that you normally don't. Or just try something new. Like I was painting a chaplain one time, and it's the Terminator chaplain, and I tried to do wood grain on the casing for the bolter.
There you go.
And like, I don't know why I did it, but I just thought it would look cool, and it did. And I had to like look this technique up in a bunch of PDFs that I had kicking around on my computer. So I was like, yeah, I'll just apply this technique and try to make it work. And it turned out like that I got a cool effect.
Nice. I did wood grain on all of my Vostroyan lasguns.
Oh man, dig those out sometime. Yeah, and I think like the next technique thing that I want to learn is how to paint marble.
Ooh.
Right?
Okay.
So,
I feel you.
yeah, so I think that would be like a lot of like glazing.
Yeah, I've looked some tutorials. It sometimes when I see like people who've painted marble and it's done and it's finished and everything.
Whoa, that beer is nuts. I was not expecting that.
In a good way or bad way?
Like, I don't hate it, but I was like, ooh, that's a bit...
Yeah.
That is a sour.
Take a couple sips for you.
Yeah.
I think it's a combination of it being a dark beer and a sour.
Yeah.
Right? It's a mouthful, right?
It's just big flavor is what it is. I'm totally taking a picture. No, that's just me. No one... Oh, back-facing camera. What are you doing?
I totally forget what I was saying. Your whole face just like changed.
What were we talking about?
That doesn't matter.
New techniques, wood grain, Vostroyans, marble.
Marble, yes. So like, I've watched tutorials and been like, it's so not that hard. And then, but and sometimes I look at it and I'm like, okay, it like kind of looks like marble. And then, but every time I see it finished, I'm like, that looks like marble.
Yeah.
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 But as it's happening, I'm just like, what is this trash?
Yeah, that looks like butts.
Yeah.
But then once all the layers get there, and like you're really, with that technique, you're really depending on the translucency of the paint.
Which still blows my mind how that all works.
Yeah.
But, you know, we're getting there.
Yeah.
Plenty more to learn.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be the next technique I learn. Like, I would love to do a dreadnought and incorporate that really heavily.
Yeah, just like on a shoulder pad or something.
Yeah.
Or heavily.
Yeah,
like all of
just like a full armor plate of marble.
Like that Custodes dreadnought that you have
Maybe,
in your freezer.
maybe. In the deep freeze?
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta bust that out. Like, and now that they're talking about updating 7.1 is what they're calling the rule book for Heresy?
Is it? I don't know.
It's something like they're basically consolidating all the rules for the Horus Heresy. They're keeping the 7th edition rules.
Right, yeah, I saw that.
But they're dropping what they don't need, and they're clarifying other stuff, and they're...
I like they incorporated all the FAQs into the rulebook.
Yeah, that's just clever
Yeah.
and kind. But yeah, so I think that I'm gonna have some new painting projects once 30K gets revitalized again.
I'm excited for it.
Mm-hmm.
Excited for it.
Me too.
Alright, so, painting armies, trying new things, paint for a while, starting to hit a plateau. What do you do?
Oh, my go-to is paint with other people.
Okay.
Like once I start to feel like, why am I doing this? I'm not having as much fun as I used to. Like, organize a painting night. It doesn't have to be a big one. It doesn't have to be at a bar. You could brew coffee and just like paint at your buddy's kitchen table, or your mom's kitchen table while you talk to your mom. You should probably call your mom. You haven't talked to her a lot. But like, that's just taking the social aspect of it and like getting into that. That's what I do, because I find a lot of the time what stops me from painting is like, I want to hang out with my friends. And like, painting's a very solitary thing.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, let's organize a nice little painting night. And then it kind of got away from us, and now we're at Seascape, like drinking beers. But it's fun. How often have you like cleaned a brush in a drink?
Oh, it just came to your mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's totally happened. Not that often. Maybe like once every 6 months.
Yeah.
I'll do that in my drinking water glass.
You're like nuts.
Never in like a beer or something that wasn't water.
I've done it in coffee like more times than I can count.
See, I don't drink coffee,
Yeah.
so I never have just like brown water on my desk,
Well,
other than my paint water.
When you call it just brown water, yeah, it sounds gross. It's delicious. It's nutty. It's roasted. But yeah, the painting with people. I also like that pushes me to learn new stuff. Like I think I'm a better painter at faces because I've been like painting with you, or like if I need to get something done quickly, I'll just be like, Adam, here's a couple of tall cans. I need to take a look at that airbrush real quick. Like, that's how I do. Like, or that's my main technique. So what do you do when you, like, need to bust a cycle?
So I've been through... So this... I've actually... I thought about dividing this up into 2 categories, actually. Mm-hmm. So as a commission painter, spending oftentimes, 3-4 days out of the week painting for 10 or 12 hours, right? You can get painter's fatigue inside of a day. You paint for 3 hours, and you're like, I just can't paint anymore. Or, And so what do you do in that situation? Mm-hmm. Versus, like... But you have to, because you have to meet deadlines or whatever, right?
Yeah.
Versus... Okay, I've like been painting, like just casually, like with your personal projects. Okay, I've been painting this army for a while. Like I'm totally sick of painting this army, and it's making me kind of sick of painting. There's 2 different strategies, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So how do you get back into it, like within half an hour to an hour when those feelings start to set in?
Yeah.
Versus how do you?
I want to know this like short-term one. This is the one that I'm interested in.
Okay. All right.
Like, tell me how you do that.
Yeah. So. Having a new daughter is amazing.
Okay, so that's pretty expensive.
Yeah, that's high bar, right?
for the like casual gamer. Like
find a lady, marry her, make a baby with her. It's amazing. It'll help your painting life exponentially. Actually, it'll probably take away from your painting life more likely.
To steal a joke from another podcast that everyone probably listens to, Forge World gets you married. Women love Forge World.
They love Forge World. Yeah.
So about time when you're like painting up your heresy army, that's when girls are like, I'm gonna lock this down.
Thousands upon thousands of dollars on toys. He's a keeper.
Yeah, this guy makes prudent decisions.
And this kind of applies to the long term and the short term. Sometimes you just gotta ride it out, right? You just be like, you know what? I ain't feeling like painting, so I'm just not gonna paint.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna embrace that. And I think sometimes just not forcing it, is part of getting out of that funk, and just allowing yourself to be like, you know what? I'm gonna sit down. We're gonna have like a lunch break. I'm gonna hang out with some people because I've been alone at my desk for a few hours, and we'll see what happens. And no expectations, right? Just kind of take those expectations off, which can sound counterintuitive. He's like, no, I got a deadline.
Yeah.
Right? Just be like, you know what? No expectations. I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it.
Well, for those of you listening who are athletically inclined, it's like overtraining a muscle. You have to let it heal.
That's right. Yeah, let's see that.
Right? That makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not. Look at me. I've got a body by hostess. Like I'm not ripped.
And I've got a body like a box of nails.
Yeah. You're like a mid-tour Iggy Pop.
Sure. And anyway, but that doesn't always work, right? Sometimes you can't shake it, or sometimes you just have to get back and sitting down as quick as possible. So something is just change your scenery. Change your scenery for 10 minutes. Go take a poop. Go take a walk.
Yeah.
Probably
do those separately, but...
Yeah. Don't walk and poop at the same time.
No. Or don't just go for a walk and then poop at the end of your walk and then walk home.
Yeah. Memories.
Honestly, painting the Imperial Fist Army is why I took up yoga.
Okay.
Just because I was like, my back is wrecked. Like, right between my shoulder blades, it felt like I was always trying to pinch a pencil. So
See, that's something. So when you're painting, you get, like, zoned in, right? Mm-hmm. And that's when your back starts. Because all of a sudden, 2 hours later, you're like, holy smokes, I've been, like, hunchback of Notre Dame for 2 hours. What's going on? And the second you snap out of your little zone, you gotta move your body, get your arms up in the air, do some jumping jacks, something.
Just, dude, yoga.
Yeah?
Like, learn painter's yoga. I should teach painter's yoga.
Run a class.
Right, you nerds.
They'll come from miles. If you build it, they will come.
Oh, man. Yeah, so, like, what's your big... so that's your small project.
So my last thing for the short term
is
I came up with a little phrase to motivate myself.
Which is,
so have you watched Finding Nemo?
Yeah.
So, I think it's
Dory.
Is it Dory? Just keep swimming, just keep swimming, just keep swimming, swimming.
That's what keeps you going?
Well, you gotta change it a little bit.
Okay.
Just keep painting, just keep painting, just keep painting, painting, painting. What do? We
paint?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's a good...
Yeah, you find yourself snapped out of your zone, and you kind of take that sigh, and you're like, what am I doing with my life? Just keep painting, just keep painting, just keep painting.
Oh yeah, no, anytime that I have like the what are you doing with your life thought, I'm like, don't pull at that thread, that won't end well.
Yeah. Distract myself immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like for me, what I'll do on larger projects is I'll just do a small project in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes that's what keeps me sane. Like I threw the kill team into the middle of my Imperial Fists. So we did a little kill team event. I did a bunch of Karsharidons.
Say the proper name.
Space Sharks.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun to paint. A little bit different. Still Space Marine, so I wasn't breaking my brain too much, but it was very forgiving to paint a gray army. You can get away with a lot of dry brushing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like a good break to just not paint the same thing over and over and like sort of paint a different palette.
Especially yellow.
Yep.
Like certain colors are just stressful.
Mm-hmm.
Like a certain customer of mine who's a frequenter of the podcast asked me to paint a white and orange army. It's the last time that I charged the same price for white and orange.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
what is that? Oh, man. Anyway, delightful.
But, like, it seems like it wouldn't be that bad. But then you get into it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oof.
That's when you want to pull the thread.
I'm gonna do it. But yeah, no, I like to paint like a different model. I think, like I said, I'm gonna experiment with either a different game system or a different model company altogether, depending on our lives. So yeah, I find like painting different model types are another great way to like teach you a new technique.
Yeah. Playing games.
Yeah.
Playing games is a good way to like break the painter's fatigue, because you're like, I've been painting for so long, and you kind of forget why.
Oh yeah.
Why am I doing this? And you go play some games, like, oh yeah.
Because I love it.
Yeah, and I need those other tanks so I can beat this guy, and so I'm just gonna go home and paint some more.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
The thing that I do to make sure that I don't get painter's fatigue is I will just podcast, man.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, you obviously know how podcasts work. But yeah, just get one or two that you like and binge it. Like, I like narrative podcasts. I like, history podcasts, comedy podcasts. Yeah, just pick something to have on in the background and just go for it.
Yeah. There's a certain YouTube channel that does battle reports.
Yeah.
Put them on in the background.
It weirds me out because then I have to like come here and listen to a certain person that has a YouTube channel that I'm a small part of. So it's so weird. Like, Nick watches his own battle reports, and I can't do it.
I can't listen to the podcast.
Oh no.
No, I lived that already.
Yeah, well,
on to the next thing.
And because I edit it, and then like it comes out, and I'll just like listen to make sure that the quality was the same thing. So I'll like skip around, but I can't listen to it again.
Yeah,
like because I've already spent 5 hours like face and eyes into it.
Awesome. But yeah, I love that. I love that advice. Just like pick a new TV show on Netflix, and I mean, so a buddy I have. Actually, Jason is on the Encounter Wargaming stuff. He cannot have TV playing and paint.
Really?
Yeah, he's just like, I can't help but watch it.
Okay.
And if I'm watching it, I can't paint.
Yeah.
And that's the logic there. And I'm like, dude, just listen. Like, I've listened to a lot of TV and listened to a lot of movies.
I'm telling you, listen to podcasts, Adam. It's easy. You've got a computer right there.
I'm not opposed. I've had a little run through it.
Or you know what's really nice, and it's kind of harder to do just because of scheduling, is baseball on the radio while you're painting.
Oh no.
Oh man, like, just it's good, especially if like the Jays are doing okay.
This is already a slow thing, right?
Yeah. So it's like a bunch of guys watching their house. Anyways, we don't have to get into why baseball is fun to watch and listen to.
I may or may not try that. We'll see.
Yeah, no, I don't think you're going
I'm
to.
also just like not that into it, so.
Well, this is for the listeners.
Yeah. Right.
This is just
yeah,
for
totally. Totally. You're right. You're
yeah.
right.
But yeah, so, I think we wanted to, I was going to ask you actually to explain the hairspray chipping.
Sure.
Like, just, can you give us a brief rundown just because we were
Because we said we would.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what? Because I've listened to our podcast occasionally, and we'll say, like, and we'll get to that in a little bit, and we just never do.
Well, no one's ever told us.
Yeah.
Or complained, so.
But,
it must not have been that important.
Yeah, I guess.
All right, so, okay. Just because it's fun and just because I learned it this week and we're talking about painting, right? And then you're going to share salt because it's on the same vein, right?
Yeah.
All right, so the hairspray chip, first off, just weathering and paint chipping in general, kind of the theory is, like we explained earlier, like your car rusting out at the bottom, and the paint on your car is actually chipping off, exposing the rusty metal underneath. And think about it like, now take your car and leave it sitting there for 50 years and nobody touches it, and it's just weather beaten, winter upon winter, salt. I don't know, storms have blown leaves and sticks over us. It's just chipping paint off like crazy, right? And you just want that effect on your Space Marine. Like, his armor's chipping off, he's getting hit by bullets or whatever.
It's an heirloom, for God's sakes. Like,
yeah. What, that power armor?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's some ancient stuff. And you can't reproduce that.
No, it's really hard. Unless you are friends with Call.
That guy be going crazy. So that's the idea. That's the effect you're trying to recreate. And so how do you do it, right? Because what do? Do you paint your model nice and pretty and then dirty it up after, which is certainly a way to do it.
Yeah.
But the hairspray chipping is a way for you to paint your rust underneath, which is kind of what's happening. The metal underneath the paint is rusting.
Yeah.
And you literally paint on top of that and chip the paint off afterwards, which is like totally mind blowing. Like,
it's pretty bonkers.
Yeah. So first off, pick the way you like your rust to look. Okay.
Yeah.
So cover it in your browns and your oranges, and do your stippling and your dry brushing and all that. And I just used airbrush to keep it quick, and did like 4 different colors of brown, orange, and a little bit of red in there. And then just like actually what I did is I glossed the heck out of it just to protect it.
Yeah.
Gotta do that. So then I covered it in hairspray. So went to the dollar store, got some of that $2 can, and just like stuck it in my air vent for my airbrush, and just like layered this stuff on. I tried it in 2 stages where I sprayed hairspray into a cup and poured it in my airbrush, and then because I saw a dude do it like that on a tutorial, and I was like, oh, that's kind of smart, and it's conservative, you're like, you're not you're globbing this thing with hairspray, and then it was harder to chip off, so I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm globbing it, I'm just going crazy, and went full can, just rattle can right on the armor of the squiggy.
Yeah.
And then you airbrush your paint color for your quote-unquote car.
Yeah.
So Squiggy's armor is painted red, and because it's orcs, it's kind of scrap and put together. So we got some gray, we got some black, because it's coming from different places. And there's even some, look, this is just for you, Paul, there's some Imperial Fist.
I saw the yellow.
Rhino doors.
I know.
Yeah.
You mean man.
And so paint that on. And the more layers of airbrushing you do there, the tougher it is to get through it. Mm-hmm. But so I found 2 layers was not bad. 1 layer was really easy to chip off, which is good. So decide what you want. And then once that's dry, get it wet with some water.
Okay.
And then take a stiff brush and kind of just stab at it with your stiff brush, like stipple at it until the paint just chips off. And so the water's the key, because it loosens the layer of paint,
and it loosens the hairspray underneath.
Yeah,
because acrylic paint would be permeable, so it's gonna loosen that.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
Yeah, and it just kind of flakes off. You kind of don't really notice it happening. And focus around the edges, areas that would get, knocked or beaten or whatever. But I found too that if you just a little tidbit, that once you break through, kind of re-wet it, because now it's like seeping underneath a lot easier, and it's just way easier to chip again after.
Okay, that's a really cool one.
Yeah, and then just on this guy, I came in with a sponge and just did a bright silver and just sponged the edges around some of the rusted parts.
Yeah, that looks smart.
Yeah,
because after metal is exposed, any damage to it is going to be weathered silver, because you're cutting through the oxidized layer into the actual metal. The way that I've sort of done this, I guess you can conceive of it as like exposing voids in the paint. I sprayed down my metal, I put weathering powders on it to rust it up, I sealed that, and then I would put droplets of water on the panel and drop salt onto it, and then let that dry, then prime over that and brush the salt off.
Which is so weird.
It's so weird, but it's such a cool effect.
Yeah.
And I think it would work a lot better with an airbrush.
Yeah. So when you primed, because you did it on yellow shields?
Yeah, I did it on my breachers.
Yeah. So you primed it with like a yellow spray paint?
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
And it ended up looking really cool. I didn't seal it good enough in certain spots, so it took off both layers of paint. Went down to bare plastic, so I just
especially on forgeable resin, right?
Mm-hmm. So I just covered that up with like brown and like I was able to kind of massage it into the scheme. But I like that one. I think I would do that again.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do now, but
so one of the benefits obviously of doing the salt is no hairspray fumes.
Yeah.
No dyeing. Thankfully, airbrush vent and mask if you're good.
Yeah, and like I just have salt and water in my house all the time. Maybe you do too out there in listener land.
That's right. Yeah, actually, when I went to the dollar store, I got a big bag of $1 salts and a $1 can of hairspray.
Yeah, I think you would really like salt weathering.
Mm-hmm. So part of the issue with doing it on this guy is like, you could do it on the side of a rhino because you just kind of sit there, spray your water on, put your salt on.
Yeah.
But like gravity's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
So you're doing this big rounded like dinosaur thing.
Yeah, like that model, you wouldn't have a good time with it.
No, yeah. So the hairspray worked well, just practically.
Oh yeah, it looks good. I'm not suggesting that as an alternative.
Yeah. No, this is for strategy.
Oh yeah.
For these guys. Yeah.
Yeah, it works on big flat panels.
Yeah.
Or like sub assemblies. It does not work on like well put together models.
Yeah.
That like have a lot of moving parts.
Yeah.
Though I'd love to see it done on Eldar vehicles.
All right.
Yeah. So then, that's sort of that new technique we were talking about. Then like getting over painter's fatigue, I find actually taking a new technique is something that busts the cycle of like being.
And it all comes full circle, folks.
There it is. Like it does. It like makes you think differently about the way you're painting.
Yeah.
Because getting stuck in a rut with anything is just boring.
Yeah.
So like bust that cycle, dudes.
You know what I kind of hate is when you like advance your painting skill to the next level in the middle of an army.
Oh, buddy.
And then you're stuck painting the rest of that army like at a level that you're better than now.
I go straight ahead and paint like as well as I can.
Really?
Sometimes.
So when I matched up to my sisters that I painted 12 years ago, I paint it the same way
that's
that I
crazy.
painted it 12 years ago.
That's nuts to me.
That's like just a little pet peeve thing about like army continuity for me.
Sure.
Anyway, you don't have to be weird like me, folks.
No.
But whenever I judge painting, I do judge painting as like the army as a whole. So if things look like they're painted differently, right? Like unity in a color scheme for me is big.
See, I'm a little bit more forgiving of that, I think, than you are. So like the idea of someone painting like a rhino, and then by the time they come around to painting their dreadnoughts, their painting's more advanced, or like from tactical squads or from their guardian squads, so their aspect warriors. That I'm kind of okay with because it's showing a progression.
Yeah.
So if it's something like that, I am very like I wouldn't even think to like kind of dock marks for that. If the disparity is enormous,
yeah,
then I'm like,
yeah, I'm not talking about like a 10% delta, right? I'm talking like 50% delta.
Yeah.
And just because we're on this, because we happen to be, and bonus content for you. Look at that. I actually I value somebody who puts effort into their line troopers.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'll always get in close on the basic. Let's say it's Tyranids. I'm picking up your Hormagaunts and I'm looking at them closely, and I'm gonna put it beside your Hive Tyrant and be like, them's not the same.
And like they don't have to be exactly the same. Also, this is saying, like, coming from a guy that every one of his breachers has a salt chip shield and a custom made bolter. So, like, I don't know, do as I say, I guess.
Yeah.
like, I am fine with people putting their efforts into their centerpiece models, provided that the, like, basics and a little better are done on everything else. Because, like, I have centerpiece models. Like, my Leviathan's painted better than some other stuff. I can't think of anything that's painted bad in my army.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? Is you look at your army as a whole.
The quad gunners, they're the worst.
Are they bad?
Yeah, they're not good.
Why?
Because I tried out the Spritstone gem paint on them. That's what it's called. It's not Spirit.
They tried to bottle magic, and they were like, "Oh shoot!"
Yeah, and I was just like, "This is garbage."
Yeah,
like I hate these gem paints.
I'd never try them. I just knew, I was like, nothing will replace how I paint lenses and gems. There's no one quick, easy way to paint a gem.
No, and like, I know people that use it and enjoy it, and I think I could find a way to incorporate this paint. Like, I think if you painted your gem and then used that as the gloss and then did your white dots, it would, like, blend the layers, but I can also do that with, like, a glaze.
Yeah.
And I have a wet palette, so I do it really quickly.
Yeah. Anyway,
also,
bonus content.
Yeah. Also, learn to paint gems. That'll make your day.
Yeah, I painted an Eldar army where I painted every single gem on every single dude.
Oh, buddy. That's gaudy.
Yeah.
That is.
That was at a certain point in life where, I hated myself. No, I'm kidding. Okay. So let's push this forward. Let's get the ball rolling. So community painting, we've talked about it a bunch as a good way to advance your painting skills. We've talked about it in a way that helps you get out of painter's fatigue, which has been our two headline things so far. So how do we do it? We kind of talked about why we do it, but how do we make this effective?
Yeah, if you want to have a bunch of people painting together, you're going to need a couple of things. It seems like a priori knowledge, but you need a place to do it.
Location.
Exactly. If your kitchen table can't house 30 people, don't invite 30 people. Invite 4.
We tried that at my house once.
Yeah.
It was like 15 people to train at my house.
Oh my god.
Oops.
I mean, it was fine by me because I was able to leave. Your poor put upon Emily. Like...
We have people with hobby knives on the floor cutting MDF train. It was great.
Nuts. But yeah, get an acceptable space. Luckily, Seascape, they're very, very nerd friendly. I mean, you go in there and there's like heavy metal comics just covering the walls. There's it's a video game bar. They have a booth area that's Event Horizon themed. They're kind to us. They know what's up.
4 booths, 3 booths, and they're all different theme.
Yeah,
like nerd
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you need a space to do it. And like have your basic supplies on hand. Like have paper towels, have cups.
Mm-hmm. Like if I'm organizing it, I always make sure to have all of that kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. Like bring cups for everybody, have water for everybody, have paper towels for everybody, have that stuff for everybody. Mm-hmm. So that people only have to bring their own brushes and paint. Yeah.
So that's something that I'll actually have to get tomorrow.
Yeah. The biggest detractor for me to do painting elsewhere is I always feel like I don't have all my stuff.
Yeah.
So if I hit a situation where I'm like, shoot, I need this, or I can't go to the next step. Mm-hmm. Like, hey, does anybody have this? No, nobody has this. Oh crap! And now I'm at a video game bar.
Yeah, and they don't have any Nuln Oil.
Yeah. Anyway, so as much as you can to equip people with the things they need, just do that. Obviously, you can't have everybody's specific colors of paints.
No.
And you can't have everybody's brushes for them, But do the things that you can.
Yeah.
Yeah. And tinfoil makes great palettes. Because you just crush up the ball and throw it in the garbage.
I mean, he's right. It just weirds me out. I use a wet palette.
Yeah.
And you can just Google that. It's handy if you mix paints a lot, or it's handy if you just want to keep big loads of paint wet for a long time, or you build it in a Ziploc container, and you just put the top on it, your little Tupperware, and it stays good forever.
And it travels 2 community painting days.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, and then I guess we kind of hit all those points, so then just make it fun.
Yeah, have some fun.
Yeah.
Order some nachos. Probably not nachos. Order something that you can eat with a fork. Have a couple of beer. Not too many beer.
Because then it's really hard to paint eyeballs.
Yeah, it's hard to paint eyeballs, and, like, you'll probably, like, just be a bad person. If history is any indicator.
Yeah. So, and are you really good at Mario Kart after, or really bad at Mario Kart?
I'm good. Like, I always win.
Depends, like, at what pint.
No.
Just always win.
Always win.
Nice. It's because the other guy's on the floor because you punched him in the face when he wasn't looking.
Just sock him one right in the lips.
Sweet. Well, considering that last point was about making it fun.
Shall we go on to a time? A fun time. Oh man, we really need Nick to fill out the harmonies. So this week, being the spookiest week, Halloween was yesterday. GW released some of the Tyrannid special rules. So instead of chapter tactics, Tyranids have something called High Fleet adaptations.
I dressed up my 11-month-old as a Hormigaunt.
I really hope that's true.
It's not true.
I know.
She was a lamb.
A lamb.
Like a little sheep.
I know what a lamb is.
I thought about it for a second and I was like, anyway, never mind.
But it's interesting because every High Fleet that we sort of encountered has special rules now. So, like, Behemoth, they can re-roll their failed charge rolls for units with this adaptation. So that's going to be great for your Gene Stealer heavy lists. Anything with, like, stuff like Trigons or
that Alpha Strike, like, I really want to get that 9-inch charge off, right?
Yeah, so, like, you're gonna see that, like, kind of just being cranked to 11 a couple of times.
And what's that one called?
That one is Hyper Aggression.
Yeah, so they call these adaptations. They're like, your dudes are mutated, so they're really good at something, right?
Yeah, just imagine the Jeff Goldblum's telling you all about this. Kraken and
every time I hear this word, I think of the movie Juno, when she tells the story of what was it? I forget what the story was about, but basically she, like, fell in a water fountain in a mall and came out and was like, I'm a Kraken from the sea.
I've never seen Juno.
Really?
Really?
Oh, it's totally a movie that I thought you would have seen.
I probably should. I know. Usually I'm the one making references no one gets. But Kraken, they get questing tendrils. So when a unit with this adaptation advances, you roll 3 dice and pick the highest. That's nuts. In addition, such units can fall back and charge in the same turn.
Love it.
So this is going to be on your fast troops. So you might see, like, Ravengers come back.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't that be nuts?
It would be crazy if this one also let them advance and charge, like the Chaos Renegades chapter thingy.
Yeah. It doesn't say they can, but I'm sure that there's going to be unit profiles that allow that.
Certain things can do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Leviathan, everyone's favorite, the NPC of the Ultramarines movie. It was Leviathan that attacked.
Movie? Game?
Just, I mean, like, if we were to...
Oh, okay. Is this the beige and red guys?
No. Are they the purple and white ones?
Google?
Yeah. I don't know. It's funny because, like, if I weren't doing this podcast right now, I'd be like, yeah, I know exactly which all of these are. So, Leviathan, you roll a d6 every time that a creature with this adaptation loses a wound. If it's within 6 inches of a synapse creature, and we're all familiar with synapse, I think. And on a 6, it's ignored. So it's a 6-up, feel no pain. Yeah, so Leviathan's your like, pinky flesh with the purple carapace. They're the ones that attacked Ultramar.
There you go.
But this one doesn't stack with the catalyst power. So it's a 6-up, feel no pain. but you can't get a 6/up, 6/up. Gorgon, or Gorgon, depending on how you want to read, they reroll 1s in the fight phase because of adaptive toxins. It's pretty handy. It's going to be pretty brutal on your gargoyles. It's going to be mean on your big, like, Nidzilla lists.
These guys are green and beige.
Yeah, I've never seen them before.
They're weird. It's kind of like grandma's peppermints, you know, because they're beige instead of white.
Yeah. Then we have your Mungunder. I looked it up, and it's an end-time serpent in Norse mythology, and it's the son of Loki, one of Loki's sons.
Oh, crazy.
And a unit with this adaptation, it's called Tunnel Networks. So the warrior organisms of this hive fleet attack from subterranean tunnels.
Dude, these guys look really cool.
Yeah, they're the black and yellow guys. I really like those.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically Yolthway, the hive fleet.
It is the Ulthway Hive Fleet.
If you're wondering what that looks like.
But like with cool, like, almost like beetle shells with...
Yeah. They've got a lot of potential. I think that's the color scheme that I would go with because I love painting yellow, I guess. This one's huge. So units with this adaptation get the benefit of cover from shooting attacks, even if unless the unit advances or charges. So they lose the benefit from that adaptation until their next movement phase. But you know, you're getting a 6/up cover save in the middle of no, not even
+1 armor.
Yeah, you're getting +1 armor
all the time.
That's really big unless you're fighting me.
So I love their example is like give your Gene Stealers the big carapace, and then if you're, you know, Jormungandr, then you get a 3+ save on your Gene Stealers.
That's mean.
It's so good.
So mean. And the last two, we have Hydra. They have swarming instincts.
I tried to look up their color scheme, and it's like Google Images. They're all different.
It's funny that the one called Hydra has a bunch of different color schemes.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, right. Yeah. And you can reroll hits in the fight phase for models with this adaptation. If the unit that they're fighting is smaller than them. So the idea is like that's going to be good for your huge Hormigant blobs.
Yeah,
that's terrifying. Or your like Gene Stealer bombs, like Matt Schneider likes to use, who is not a nice person, and we don't like. He's not a friend of the podcast.
No, he's never cheerful. He's
not,
never accommodating to new people.
I think he
never smiles.
No, he's a hateful man, and to borrow a line that was said about me on a different podcast, nothing good will ever come from you.
Basically.
That was actually like a friend of mine runs a like Mystery Science 3000 podcast, and I was mentioned, and that's what they said. They're like, he's a terrible man, and nothing good will grow from him. I was like, ooh, that's a brutal insult that I need to...
That's intense.
I know, I need to remember it. And the last one is Hive Fleet Kronos. So
I like this color scheme, just so you know.
Oh, that's the black carapace with the purple flesh, right?
And green weapons.
And green weapons.
I just realized that's Mackenzie's.
Yeah, that's Mackenzie's, the ones that you're going to paint.
And I have painted in the past.
Yeah. We are looking right at them.
Yeah.
And they have Bio Barrage, so you can reroll ones for your hits in the shooting phase if they didn't move. So that's your big bugs. That's your big shooty bugs.
Yeah.
That's going to be cool for them. So
it's like spam Biowars, like... It'd be cool. Like
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that horrible person we just talked about, Matt, he's run some shooty Tyranid lists.
He runs a very shooty Tyranid list,
and it can be nasty.
Man, he's gonna be running Leviathan if he sticks with his color scheme. That's gonna suck.
That's the Feel No Pain one.
Yes, like Feel No Pain. Oh,
on a 6/0, I don't find it that appealing.
But like hordes.
Does he play with hordes?
No, he plays with big bugs.
And if you play with hordes, wouldn't you not want the +1 armor?
Yeah, I guess
I don't know.
I don't know.
It's tough.
It is tough. But the thing that I like about these is they're all good. Like, they're all pretty balanced.
Yeah, you would think about it.
Yeah, you make a choice.
Yeah, think about your life before you decide your paint scheme.
Think about these terrible monster lives. But yeah, so that's it. This has been the two of us.
Just the two of us.
You can make it if we try.
Yeah. But Nick, it is better when you're here.
It's okay when he's here.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, sure.
I mean,
don't give him too much credit.
Yeah, no one steps on my jokes.
No one steps on your jokes?
Oh man, listen to the podcast sometimes. The amount of jokes that I start and Nick is like, I got a punchline.
Oh, you guys are so cute.
Good night, everybody.
Like a monkey in a rocket on his way back home. Okay.